Hi again, everybody, and this is my research methods week 2 review and preview for week 3. Want to call attention to two things I posted under the announcements on the Canvas page. You can see it here. One is OSHA, or the Biden administration just made an announcement that he's asking OSHA to come up with an emergency plan for mandating vaccination. And I have an article to share with you. I'll look at it in a second. And then also a resource that we typically only provide to our undergrads, but I thought you guys can take advantage of it too. So this is from Fisher Phillips. This is a nationwide law firm. And I've given you the link here. And so it gives you 5-step plan on what to do. A lot of you are working, and I just wanted to provide this to you. A guy who I kind of follow on LinkedIn shared it, and I kind of become a fan. He shares some pretty cool stuff. So this is something I put together for the undergrads again. So first over here, if you were an undergrad and doing a non-capstone internship for the summer, I have them fill out a survey because I compare that to the capstone student data. Here, this is new. If you'd be interested in joining the Student Safety Organization as an off-campus student, it's free. On campus, it's $10. I will try and live broadcast and record all of our technical meetings. Another thing is, if any of you have had Bob Evangelisti, he's been asking for a new shirt. We haven't had shirts for a while, and that's one of the things we'll do this year is we'll make UW Whitewater occupational safety t-shirts, not shirts, but collared shirts, different styles and colors. And then you can buy those and we'll ship them to you. I think it's kind of a fun thing when you go to a conference and everybody has them. It's like, hey, I know you. So yeah, that's something you do. Otherwise, you can join the American Society of Safety Professionals for $15. As a student, you just got to show proof. As long as you're 6 credits a semester for grad, you're full-time, and so you can get that. You can sign up for free for a student account for the National Safety Council. I highly recommend it because you can get their safety and health. I just got this in the mail the other day. And then for the student one, you get professional safety. So that's kind of a nice bonus. You can sign up for OSHA's bi-weekly newsletter. You can also subscribe, customize an email blast through Department of Labor. I do that. EHS Today, OH&S, access to Granger. They have a lot of great information. Some of you might want to work for them. HSI, training and resources and podcasts. Same with Vector Solutions, Safeopedia, Safety FM, and Dr. Jay Allen. He's got all of his shows streaming 24/7. And then, of course, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, in which I've got a lot of content. So this is just a wide range of things. Should you be hungry for more information or like to listen to things in the background, I've got a list of things that I get. I always kind of like to look back as I look forward, that as you're coming up with a research problem, it's usually we search to find an answer, right? But what you're attempting to do is do literature search and review to try to identify a problem. And that problem is a brushstroke more or beyond what we currently know. A lot of you have some really interesting topics, but what you need to do is start thinking about it from the perspective of, is it too large? Is it too ambiguous? Can it be done in one single study? And so like I know that somebody said, well, I want to study safety culture. It's like, well, how do you define safety culture? How do you measure it? Is there a sub-part of culture, safety culture as they define it? And you have to define it, by the way. How can it be measured? And how can it relate to one other little thing? What people think about it. I just read a posting, a student said, hey, I had this topic, but now I realize it's something that's already been kind of asked and answered, a yes or no. So one thing I did during the, and I'd like to expand upon this because I really don't talk about it enough in the lecture videos, is if you've got a question, type it into Google and see what comes up. You should be able to identify the justification for it, or you're going to find the answer itself. And you have to also look at the resource that it's been published in. If it's a blog or an e-magazine, it's not peer reviewed. But if it's in like a government document, look into it. And maybe you'll see who the authors are, and then you can search the authors. Or you could look at the bibliography and look at and try to acquire some of those papers. So that's just a tip for you. There is no one right way. Research is chutes and ladders. It's what did somebody say? 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It feels like that sometime. Yes, that is how it is. But by you going through this process of doing it yourself and you developing the skills to identify published, peer-reviewed literature to become sort of the subject matter expert, because that's the purpose of a lit review. You guys just had that on your quiz, if you recall. That is what you need to do. And that process is what's going to make you better. You're developing both skills, but also a better perspective on what it means to actually do research. And by the end, you're going to have a very different view of it, you know? Yeah, so you've already read the screen. I think it's over my shoulder. For chapter 3, you're going to get more into how to review related literature. So you're doing compare and contrast. It's a common term we use when we do literature review. So find a healthy balance of, a lot of you are saying, I love Google Scholar. Fantastic. But come up with a healthy balance of the two. Reach out to Naomi Shem and find out, like if you do a search and you're finding over 1,000 hits, you want to probably modify your search terms or your phrasing of it or the use of the Boolean operators. I think I said that right. But Naomi, she is the expert, because I kind of develop my own taxonomy as I do my work. But that's only one way to do it. There's many different ways to do it. Again, as I have highlighted here, the literature has to show support for what you're going to propose. You can start experiential, with a phenomenon, but you have to be able to define it. You have to show proof that I think this causes that. Because you can't just go off the top of your head and assume. You have to show it. We're in Missouri. It's the show me state. I'm kidding. One of my professors in grad school was, and they always said that. Okay, so last week, I compared your numbers to last week and to the summer group. And I may have said it before, my summer group for 701 were amazing, like the best class I've had. You guys are outperforming them. Don't stop now. Keep going with the work you're doing on, I think the quiz were pretty close, but your discussion and your assignment and the time and touches, you are beyond them. And again, this is an individual average, so it doesn't matter how many you're in the class. You guys are doing really great. And we had 9 students show up to the discussion, the office hour Sunday night. That's more than I ever had at one single session over the summer too. So you guys are ahead of them. Keep going. You guys are doing a great job. And you all should have received an email. It's Monday night from me that are scheduling the Sunday 8 o'clock office hours. If you can't meet at that time, but you'd like to engage with a group, give me some other options. I could, Sunday morning works for me. Saturday, that's my day to do other things. I could possibly do something on like a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday morning. Probably not Friday morning. I've got meetings Friday morning. Wednesday or Thursday morning would probably be best. But please reach out to me, and then I'll ask others if they'd like to join. So yeah, this is what I sent out to everybody. So 8 p.m. on Sundays, and they go all the way through October 17th. And I can add to that. It was just, the group said they'd like to continue to meet. It was a great meeting, by the way. I mean, I saw some people already talking about it on the discussion board for this week. I think it was a fruitful exercise. So, for Module 2, start thinking about the variables and how they're going to be measured. So, some people had, in the office hour, said, I'd like to look into this. It's got to be broken down to the point where you can say, this is a variable, this is how I would measure it, versus a concept. It sounds good. Logically, it sounds like, yeah, this is really interesting. I'd like to find out more about it. You have to get it down to its individual parts and then show how those parts relate or contrast and what isn't known, or what isn't known in this perspective or in this context. Yeah. Also this week, we're going to be talking about human subjects, and I'd like everybody to go through 2 training modules. Oh, it's not, okay, this is from the summer. That got by me. I have it posted on the Canvas site when it's due. And I also then extended a little bit for the people who are working and really busy, and you guys have been talking about that too. So you go, there should be instructions on how to follow, but it's all right here on the screen as well. So there are 2 courses you need to complete. The first one will be Responsible Conduct of Research. You can see this is what you're going to get for a certificate once you've completed it. The other is human subjects research, social behavioral, and educational sciences, all researchers, basic stage. Both of them are basic courses. It can take, 5 hours possibly to do it, maybe more depending, and you can break it out. You don't have to do it all at once. Give yourself time, get into the cadence of it, get through it. It's good to go through everything in case you do decide to pursue research later on, because then you've taken care of all of this. We can move faster. Module 3 is just going to get into trying to narrow your research question, talking to your peers, talking to me. Sometimes what I can do is, if you have a topic that I'm just not comfortable speaking about, I'll reach out to some of my friends and connect you with an expert, and they can talk you through it and give you guidance. But again, you have to have the literature to support what you're proposing. That's where the whole literature search, literature review, compare and contrast of what you find in order to build a foundation. That's where it all comes from. That's the basis of all research. I love referring to the Matrix. I feel like I'm old in doing so. But have you seen the new trailer for The Matrix 4 that comes out on December 22nd, I believe? I got goosebumps. I am so excited to see Neo and Trinity back in The Matrix. So I want everybody to at least experience what it's like to go down a rabbit hole. I know back in the day, I would go to the library and actually pull out journals off the shelf and read it and find some of the references, the in-text citations. I'm like, oh, I got to read this one. And so I'd go all the way back to like the seminal papers that like began a concept or began a field of research or a body of knowledge. Because then you're hitting like bedrock. Stop digging, you hit bedrock. You don't have to go that far, but sometimes it's fun. Or, you're reading about a topic, but they refer to a study which is like a dissenting perspective on it. And I go get it. I'm like, oh, they made really good points. And, that in itself is what grad school is supposed to be about, is to open your mind, which is why I've got the Matrix on the screen. I remembered now, is to open your mind by going down the rabbit hole. I think in their Matrix, they call it, Alice in Wonderland, but we'll just keep it to it. Yeah. All right. I'm babbling, so reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, it'd be great to see you on Sunday evening, or if you can recommend another date and time, I can open up to everybody. And yeah, just discussing the topics and showing you some other tips and tricks that I have. It'll again, this is a stepwise thing. You guys are all building. Where you are now is where you're supposed to be. I'm going to shut up now. So great job. Just keep it up.